It's the Health in the Real World podcast. It's time to start the show with Chris Janke as your host. Here to give you everything that you need when it comes to fitness strategies. We keep it simple and easy. It's your roadmap to get healthy. You don't need equipment and you don't need a gym. Just the right strategies to get you fit and trim.
Hello and welcome to the Health in the Real World podcast. I'm here today with Stephanie Bisceglia. Stephanie, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for this opportunity. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining me. You are a certified Kairos therapy healer. You've been doing that for 40 years. You're a massage therapist and you have other numerous bodywork certifications as well as nutritional certifications. Can you give us kind of a quick synopsis and then we'll dive into specifically what you do as the podcast goes?
Well, I'll see how fast I can do this. I grew up, my grandparents on one side were Italian. They were next door. Everything was done from scratch.
Yeah.
Chickens, cow milk, raw milk. I grew up in a garden, great big half-acre gardens or acre gardens. So I grew up with food that was it's not close to forest gardening, but it's as close as you can get it. It's all natural, all manure-y stuff. We had all the animals to provide it. And I somehow that must have stuck with me through my life because I've always been very, very, very interested in nutrition and having grown up with that raw milk, fresh eggs, everything, raw cheese, anything you can think of that has to do with milk product. And we grew up really healthfully, very healthy and strong. All of us, there are 9 of us, I'm the oldest. We're all physically strong. And I think that had a lot to do with diet and of course being outside a lot. So my interest grew when I'm raising my kids. I wanted to make sure they were really, really healthy. So I started reading, I can't even remember the woman's name, but this has got to be from the 60s, talking about getting your food from nature and how it's grown and not using pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, that kind of thing. So I just got more and more involved with that, raising my kids and studying on my own. And then I went to UC Santa Cruz and it took me 18 years to get my bachelor's degree, but I got it in holistic health, and there's lots of aspects to that. I was already doing massage when I graduated, and Kairos therapy, which is an emotional, mental, physical, spiritual healing work and energy work. So I was already doing all of that, and I continued with that as I completed my studies and graduated, and I've gotten many, many certificates in different aspects of nutrition through medical doctors that were offering it, and osteopaths, homeopaths, and so I just have tons of certifications in all aspects of health. My focus is really helping people heal emotionally, but also nutritionally, and I've been really for years looking at why do we eat the way we eat, and I'm not making a judgment for anyone, including myself, about what I eat, how I eat, when I eat it. But there's always the emotional aspect to that. If I'm feeling depressed a lot of times, and when I'm saying I'm talking about general I, because we all do this, or majority of us do this. We'll go get our favorite ice cream, or my thing was being I would call myself a chocoholic, but I've gotten over that. Mostly, but it's really about how do I feel now and why am I craving what I'm craving, and how do I feel about myself? Am I concerned enough about myself? Do I care enough about myself to give myself really healthy food? If I eat meat, is it grass-fed, grass-finished? Where is the source? Where do I get my food? Do I check that out? And I do all of that, so I help people with that, finding sources of, the best place to get. If you're going to eat dairy, raw dairy is the best because it still has all of the enzymes. They're not, heat kills most of the good stuff, good properties, and then people do a lot of, not everybody, but a lot of people have issues with milk and dairy products.
Right.
I don't judge people for vegetarianism or not being vegetarian. It's what's best for them. How do they feel? What's their energy level like? How do they sleep? What are they, do I really, is it really important to me to take care of myself so that I live a long, healthy life? And one of my things forever is that my kids are in their 50s, and I never want to be a burden to them. So that means I have to take responsibility for myself and my life, and I have to know where to find information. And
Right.
I keep
Right.
doing research like on a daily basis in relation to nutrition. And I think I have the emotional stuff down pretty well, but the emotional aspects. Anyway.
Nice. That's awesome. I agree with you. There's definitely a correlation and overlap between that emotional aspect and food. And like you said, we get into certain states where maybe we're stressed or we're sad or hurt in some way, and then we will turn to a food that we know is not healthy, but it provides some sort of other avenue of comfort that we are seeking. So I like that, taking the nutritional aspect, but also the emotional aspect, and saying like, okay, well, obviously there's a reason why my body wants this. It's not nutritional necessarily because I'm craving a very unhealthy food, but let's maybe see if we can dig a little deeper into this emotional aspect.
Yeah, and there's something, it's like an endorphin when you eat something with sugar. It gives you kind of a lift. It
Right.
also, I mean, I very, very rarely do it anymore, but it took me a long time to get there. So I'm also very patient with my clients. I don't, it's really what works for them in the moment, and can they stay with it? And if they can only stay with it for a short period, and they have like I really recommend a cheat day if people need that or want it, or cheat couple of days if and it's also, for me, it's not about losing weight. It's about a lifestyle change. It's really about a lifestyle change. And I don't know if you remember, but I probably dropped over the years 50 pounds at least, but
Nice.
I've kept them on.
Yeah.
And I just lost somewhere between 5 and 10 pounds in the last 2 or 3 months, and I wasn't intentional.
Just
But
being healthy. Yeah.
I'm also using some stem cell activation patches, which help with, they help create new stem cells and repair damage and get rid of the bad cells. They have a product, one patch that helps with cravings and stuff. It actually helps, especially with diabetics. Not for diabetes, but it's
Mm,
seen. And I'm not. I
nice.
don't. I'm very lucky. I don't have.
So when somebody first comes to you, what is typically the protocol that you follow to determine kind of what to do first? Because I'm sure you have, like a big bag of tricks from all the years you've been doing this. Like, how do you determine what that person might need first?
Um, Generally, I have a phone conversation with them. It's usually how we do appointments, or how I do appointments, and I'll find out what it is they're really wanting. If in relation to what we're doing today, it would be the nutritional aspect, and in relation to emotion or how they feel about themselves. So I might ask a few questions related to that, and then I have a form that's a one page that asks questions about their eating and how they feel about themselves, and what they're wanting uh, from working with me. And I will work with anybody any way they want. If they want to check in once a week, and I will establish what's going on. Like if they feel like their eating is out of control and they're not eating for their best health and their best mindset and their best emotional uh, state, uh, then what I look at, I ask people to tell me what they eat, because there's absolutely no judgment on my part about what they're eating. if something pops up, like if they crave Coca-Cola or Diet Coke or whatever, or they need that lift from that, then I'm going to ask them to tell me about that, maybe when they started using Diet Pepsi or Diet Coke, and what their need is for that, or what they think their need is, because it's not a, it's really, for me, it's just an exploration. And then do they want to stop, and how, because it's definitely affects our health. It's, you know, it's pure junk. And with if you like that flavor, they like, that's the taste again, and it's then the emotion behind it. So
Right,
I
right.
do a little exploration about when they got started, how they got started, and kind of what, maybe what was going on in their life at that time. If they remember, they might not, but I'm looking for underlying emotional stuff, because the emotional stuff is embedded in our cells. It's not in our head. It's in the cellular level of the body,
Mhm.
and the memory is held in the cells, and emotional trauma that's unresolved can cause physical illness. So that's really what I'm looking at, yeah, on a deep level. They may or may not want to get Kairos therapy, but that when I'm talking with them about nutrition, it's really exploring and what are they willing to do. And I try to make it really easy. It's like, what one thing that you know is not beneficial for your health? What is one thing that you're willing to give up now? I don't have people make big changes, and and can we do that for a week, and then tell me what your feelings are about that, how, you know, what's going on for you in relation to that, and is there something healthy that you're willing to replace it with, something. And we talk about, I know, like food, it's like, if you get salmon, are you getting wild salmon? What's your source?
Mhm.
Um, so I go into pretty much into great detail if they want that. I don't, I'm not pushy. I don't like being pushy, so I don't like
Yeah.
being pushed. So, so, you know, but if somebody wants to be pushed a little, I can do that too.
Mhm.
It's just really finding out everything about their likes and dislikes, and a lot, and the underlying emotion. If they can find that, if they can't, you know, I have questions I can ask
Yeah.
to help them explore.
I think
So
that's great how you're taking like an exploratory route. There's no judgment, and you even said that, you know, if you're drinking soda, I mean, do you even want to stop drinking soda? Because some people might say, no, I don't want to stop drinking soda. I want to keep drinking soda.
yeah.
And then there's a lot of things that go into that, right? Like they may legitimately like the flavor,
Mhm.
and I know I can say that about the Mexican Cokes that use real sugar as opposed to high fructose corn syrup. There's something about those that my taste buds just absolutely love. Like I love the feeling of the glass in my hand, the glass touching my lips. Just
Mm.
feels nostalgic for some reason. I hardly ever drink them, maybe every 3 years or something.
Yeah.
But there's still that. I know what you mean about how like it's in the cells. It's not like I'm thinking about it. It's like a visceral response.
Yeah, it's an experience. It really is visceral
Yeah,
experience. And
yeah.
yeah, so you can, I mean, I actually did a lot of Diet Pepsi when I was dieting. So
Hmm.
this is not a, I don't do diets with people either. I don't do
Yeah,
dieting.
right.
It's really a lifestyle
Yeah,
change, and how important is that? Yeah, it really, there's something about certain foods, drinks, and eventually over time, like I was able to stop doing that and replace it. Like I made myself a drink of Pellegrino, because I like that sparkling,
yeah.
whatever that is, I like that. But I put uh, cranberry juice, straight sour stuff.
Hmm.
But then I used stevia or something else to sweeten it, so that it makes it, it's kind of like a spritzer, and it's a nice summer drink. And I have a couple of really healthy powders that are sweetened with stevia or xylitol, so that
Hmm.
I can um, anyway, I make
That sounds
myself a
really
little
good.
spritzer, and you're never too late, ever too late to get your health back.
Yep.
You know, it may feel like a more of a struggle as we age or as we get older, but it's never too late.
It's never too late.
You know,
I agree.
you know that. Yeah,
Yep,
you know that.
I agree. Well, Stephanie, this has been great. I want to give people a chance to find you. How do they find you? Are you on online, social media? How do
You know
people
what?
get in touch with you?
So I'm going to give you my email address, and it's shantarawizard@gmail.com. The Google phone is 408-341-9731.
Well, Stephanie, thank you
Thank you,
so much for
Chris.
joining me today on Health in the Real World podcast. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Chris. And take care.
Thanks for listening to the Health in the Real World show. Make sure to like and subscribe and comment down below. Visit mycorebalance.com to learn more.